Budgeting is truly the backbone to paying off debt, working on savings, or accomplishing any other financial goal while still being able to enjoy life. But you may be making some of these very common budgeting mistakes. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel, we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. Obviously, here on my channel, we talk a lot about budgeting, and today I'm going to share 6 budgeting mistakes that you may be making. But before we dive into that, I want to let you guys know if you want to get started with budgeting, or maybe you already do budget, but it seems really complicated or overwhelming, I have a course that's just for you. It's called the Budget Breakdown course. It is everything you need to know about budgeting. I will have a link to it in the description box down below and you can check it out there. It's at a super affordable price and it is full of video content to walk you through how to create your own budget and just everything you need to know about budgeting and what we've learned about budgeting to be able to help us accomplish some serious financial goals like paying off debt, saving for a down payment on a house, investing, and for me to make the switch to being a full-time YouTuber and stay-at-home mom. So if you want to learn more about budgeting, this course is for you. You can check it out with the link in the description box down below. The first budgeting mistake that people often make is not making a zero-based budget. A zero-based budget basically means that all of your income equals all of your expenses, debt, and savings, all the money out. And with using this budgeting framework, every dollar has a name in your budget. Some people may create a budget by writing out how much they plan to spend in different categories each month, but all of those expenses, debts, and savings don't equal out to be their income. And it's so important to have a zero-based budget because with using this type of budgeting framework, you prevent overspending, spending more than you're making, and you also are able to apply more towards other things in your budget if you have more income left over. So it's so important to use the zero-based budgeting framework when you create a budget to assign every dollar a name every single month. And we talk all about the zero-based budget, how to make one for yourself and troubleshoot it in my budget breakdown course. The second budgeting mistake that many people make is not including a miscellaneous category in their budget. This is so important to have no matter your income level. It's important to have something to go towards miscellaneous because there's always something random that comes up during the month. We budget about $100 a month in miscellaneous and we stick to that, if not sometimes go over in this budgeting category because there's always something random that seems to come up that doesn't fit in with our other budgeting categories. Now, throughout our budgeting journey, which has been over 6 years, we've always included miscellaneous in our budget, and we've actually found other categories that we should start including in our budget because of miscellaneous. So for example, we started regularly spending money on kinds of gifts. It seemed pretty frequently, and those would all go into miscellaneous, but it ended up that we were doing it pretty frequently. So instead of just keep putting it towards miscellaneous, we eventually made it its own line item category in our budget. But the things that I like to put in miscellaneous are things that I'm not spending on very frequently and just random things that don't fit into any other category. So this last month we had things like postage, teeth whitening strips, parking, like those random kinds of things that I don't spend money on often. Those just go into miscellaneous. So it's always so important to allocate something towards miscellaneous in your budget every month, kind of as that buffer because you'll spend money on something that you weren't planning to spend on. The third budgeting mistake many people make is not utilizing sinking funds. You guys, I'm a huge fan of sinking funds and I have tons of videos here on my channel all about them. I will leave a link to a sinking fund video here and you can check it out if you want to learn more about sinking funds. But sinking funds are basically a way for you to save money every month for a cost that you know is coming up in the future. Take Christmas, for example. It's about to be Christmas, and this is a really great category that you can include as a sinking fund. So let's say you want to spend $1,200 this year on Christmas. Well, instead of having a $1,200 expense in December and have that throw your budget totally out of whack, or maybe you don't have the money even saved up or have the money available in December, then instead you can save $100 every single month in a sinking fund labeled for Christmas. And that way when December rolls around, you'll have enough money set aside in that sinking fund ready to be spent on those kinds of expenses. I'm a huge fan of utilizing the sinking funds in our budget for different categories because it helps even out our budget month over month and helps us to be able to have that permission to spend on different things when that time comes. So we like to use this for vacation, for gifts, for extra giving, for Christmas, like I shared. We actually like to use it for personal spending, and we have this rollover month over month. That way we may spend more one month and less another. I also like to do this for our baby fund. We have a 16-month-old son named Peter, and he obviously has expenses, but some months are higher and some months are lower. And so we just allocate a certain amount every month into the baby sinking fund, and that way we can cover when diapers are on sale one month, we'll stock up, and then other months when we're not buying as much, it helps even it out. So if you have something that you know is coming up, whether that is a vacation or even like house maintenance or car maintenance, start a sinking fund for it, save a certain amount every month, and that way when the time comes and you need to spend the money, you'll have it set aside, ready to be spent, and it's a huge stress relief. The fourth budgeting mistake that people often make is not allowing for fun in their budget. Many people think that budgeting is restrictive, but it's actually totally the opposite. A budget actually gives you the permission to spend. You just need to plan for it in your budget. So plan for the things that you like to spend money on. Some of the fun things that we have in our budget include eating out and personal spending money, as well as we do have a little like fun line item, which is kind of like entertainment. By allocating money to these fun types of categories, it gives us the permission to spend on things that we enjoy, which is so important. When you're budgeting, it's so valuable to find balance, to be able to work on your financial goals while also enjoying your life. And you can do all of those things just by planning ahead and including those things in your monthly budget. And I also think that when you give yourself the permission to spend and enjoy your money along the way, you are more likely to actually reach your financial goals because you're not restricting yourself from enjoying life. The fifth budgeting mistake that many people make is not budgeting together. So if you are married, it's so important for you to budget with your spouse, and both people should have input as to how the budget should go. Now, for myself and my husband Jacob, I'm definitely much more of the budget nerd, and I love taking out the spreadsheet and setting up our budget, but it's still important for Jacob to have input as to how our money is being spent. If you've never budgeted before, it's so important for you to sit down with your spouse and take a look at all of your expenses and your goals and figure out how you can work them together in your budget. And this way you guys can get on the same page with money, which is so important. Now, as time goes on, this process will get a lot easier and quicker. For example, for myself and my husband Jacob, I now like set the budget every month, and I have Jacob take a look at it and he goes, yep, baby, yep, okay, yeah, sounds good. Because we've established our budgeting habits and we are on the same page when it comes to our finances. So it's a pretty easy process, but it is so important for us both to have input as to how our money is being spent or saved and allocated. And I think this is so important for all married couples. The sixth budgeting mistake that people often make is not checking in with their budget. This is such an important part of budgeting that many people just forget to do. But budgeting every month is more than just setting numbers on a page. It means that you have to keep going back and checking in with your budget throughout the month to see how your actual spending is compared to what you budgeted. For us, this looks like sitting down every Sunday. I will pull up my bank account and see all my transactions for the week, and I then enter them into my budget spreadsheet. And I'm able to see how my actual spending is going based on my budget that I have allocated for the month. And there are many times that we go through the month and maybe we are like 1 week into the month, but I've spent half our grocery budget. Well, that means that I can either adjust our grocery budget for the month, which has to mean reducing a budgeted amount in a different category, or maybe that means I take a look at the things that we have in our pantry and eat up other things so we can reduce our grocery budget for the remainder of the month. That's why it's so important to check in with your budget throughout the month and see how your spending is going, and if you need to make any sort of mid-month budget adjustments, which are totally allowed. Now, this takes some time and you'll build the habit of checking in with your budget, but we find that it's pretty easy to sit down just once a week and take a look at our budget and the numbers to see how it's going. So those are 6 budgeting mistakes that many people are making. But in my budget breakdown course, we talk about how to combat all of these mistakes and so much more, filled with tons of content of everything you need to know about budgeting. And you also get a free download of my budget template. It's in spreadsheets, it works in Excel, Google Sheets, and you can use that to start your own household budget. So if you want to check out that course and get a deep dive into budgeting and start a budget of your own, again, I will have a link to that course in the description box down below, and you can check it out there. So thanks so much for hanging out, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave me a comment below and let me know what is one budgeting mistake that you are either making or have made in the past. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.
Did you ever stop and think, why spend too much time just getting ready? Let me be honest, I don't know a single thing